Hey there. So tonight we're going to try one of my beers. A friend of mine, Jeannie, from New Mexico, and I made a Dupont-style Saison back in December. I think the last week of December. As a matter of fact, it might even have been the 30th. So the let's see here. I have a whiteboard on my refrigerator here, so it doesn't look like I'm talking to space. There it is. I actually have a whiteboard on my refrigerator. So I have a Saison, and it's 5.63% alcohol by volume. It was bottled on January 30th of 2016. So it was in the fermenter for just under a month, I'm pretty excited to share it. I've reviewed it, or I've had I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I've shared it with a lot of people in the beer community, and they've all liked it a lot, although Jeannie has not tried it yet, unfortunately, so she doesn't know how great her beer is. So we have it, and I would like to share it tonight as part of my homebrew series. It's very exciting. So here it is. It looks very ugly at this point because I recycle a lot of my 22-ounce bottles, and some of them, their labels don't come off very nicely. So please excuse its ugliness. And I didn't put labels on these because I don't even know, actually. A lot of times I'll go to Staples and I'll buy labels and make them, but I did not today. But often when I'm giving them away as gifts, like Christmas gifts or something. Otherwise, I don't think about that, and I really just give you like a scratched piece of paper. Anyway, so Saison is a very interesting type of beer. I really feel like it rides the line between a sour and a regular beer, and this is true to form. And people who are like, "Oh, is that a sour?" Because I don't like sours, will try this and like it a lot. So I feel like that's very successful. Here it is. It's beautiful in the glass, and aroma. Oops. I have foam on my nose now. I get this nice spiciness, anyway, I feel like Belgian style ales are so distinctly, have such a distinct yeast aroma to them, and this is no exception to that rule. A little fruity, maybe hoppy. I can smell the grain. Appearance-wise, I'm getting a nice head, and I think, unfortunately, and I don't know if you've seen it, and I guess because we can do a tour, because this is a video, excuse the crudeness of the situation. Over here is my collection of beers. And so the tall stack with the two jugs on the top is a Kolsch. The far one in the back that you can't see very well is the remainder of this Saison. And this one here in the fermenter wearing the Muhammad Ali shirt is my milk stout, named My Milk Stout Brings All the Boys to the Yard. So stay tuned for that because it'll be great. But nonetheless, I have all these beers that I'm making. Anyway, let's get on to this. What are we, minutes in? Okay. Anyway, so it's been out for a little while, and I feel like so this actually was in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours, and I feel like it would have not have been so foamy, and now I kind of wish I would have put them into the refrigerator at a sooner time, but I also live in a tiny little apartment, and my refrigerator is tiny. I mean, really, it's the size of me. It's bigger than I am. But refrigerator should be. And I'm pretty tiny. So if a refrigerator is just about my size, like it's really not qualified to be a beer refrigerator. I have to have food in there at some point. Nonetheless, we get off topic. So that being said, it seems to be a little bit more heady than it should be. And I don't know if that's because it wasn't refrigerated properly. It got too warm sitting in my apartment. But I feel like it's been pretty cold lately. I don't know, and most of the time I had this Kolsch that was fermenting, and it had to ferment at a long time at a cool temperature, so it wasn't really that warm, but I guess if I think about it, it was probably close to 70 degrees, so maybe that's too warm, but nonetheless, so it seems to be very heady, but it's rocky and beautiful. The color is this deep amber color, and I know it's not very filtered. I did filter it coming in, coming out of the fermentation vessel. I actually put it in a secondary, and so I racked off some portion of it into the secondary, and then didn't pull all the dregs out of that. And then before I put it into the original fermenter, I did give it a first pass filtration, but still, out of a home system, it's not that advanced. But that being said, there is sediment in the bottles when I pick them up. Although this doesn't look that bad. This has been laying on its side, and I don't see a whole bunch of sediment neither on the bottom or particularly or on the side. But this beautiful color, so it's beautiful, beautiful. All right, flavor. Let's take a taste. Everybody else has tasted this. With each drink, I get the spiciness that comes through in the yeast, so I can smell it, and then it comes through as a flavor. It's pretty intense, but very enjoyable. There's a dryness to it almost, which is very interesting. Which is interesting. I mean, because a Saison should have some element of bitterness to it. But this is very mild, almost floral bitterness, if you will. And it, really rides that edge of sour. Like, a couple of times when you drink, you're like, hey, wait a minute. Did somebody sneak a sour on me? And you're like, no, it's not really sour, because you take that first drink, and it's very malty and sweet. And it has the regular complexity, or the complexity of a regular beer that you would be expecting. But every once in a while, you're like, I don't know, I think they snuck something on me. Anyway, very agreeable. This is, so since we're doing it officially, the mouthfeel-wise, it's very medium body. It almost has no impression on the tongue. It's very neutral, very nice. Has good flavor. It does have a little bit of an alcohol feel or taste to it. At 5.63, if memory serves me correctly, 5.63% alcohol by volume, and this is interesting, and I'm glad that they shared this. In this particular style, where did you go? The table versions are 3.5 to 5% alcohol by volume, but the standard, the standard is 5 to 7%, and then the super, because there's a super Saison, is 7 to 9%. So this is a standard alcohol rating that we're looking for. And I don't have the recipe on me that would have suggested the alcohol percentage, but I feel like it was supposed to be like 5.5. So 0.1% I can handle, I think. I think we used and anyway, I won't get into that. Mouthfeel, color, flavor, aroma, the whole thing. It's really quite on point. For this particular style, BJCP, the overall impression is most commonly a pale, refreshing, highly attenuated, moderately bitter, medium strength Belgian ale with a very dry finish. That is a long sentence. Typically highly carbonated, and using non-barley cereal grains and optional spices for complexity. We really didn't use any optional spices. I think we had orange peels or orange slices or something like that. I forget what it was, or orange rind, something like that. So that kind of gave it a little bit more of a bitter type of a citrusiness. These are all words that I make up that sound better when I'm typing than when I'm talking. it had all of those things in it. But it complements the expressive yeast character that is fruity, spicy, and not overly phenolic. Less common variations include both lower alcohol and higher alcohol products, like I was talking about the alcohol by volume variations earlier, as well as darker versions with additional malt characters, so they're kind of roasting those grains a little bit more. But this is pretty representative of what we'd expect for the standard type style, and it has gotten some really great reviews as far as flavor, and for people who are like, oh, you know, like I'm okay with beer, but this beer is really good. So I feel like this was a very successful Saison. So thank you, Jeannie, so much for looking up the recipe and putting this together and coming over and brewing it with me. It's been a wild success, and I have a whole box, which you saw in my hallway, dedicated to you when you arrive. So cheers, and here's to our Dupont-style Saison. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.